Hi there. So it's been a week, and I'm trying to keep to a more regular order, to more regular schedule of posting videos. So here I am with the next episode in my Tantric Goddesses series. So we're going to take a look at the goddess who generally is named second in the list of the 10 Mahavidyas. So the goddess for this week is Tara, or she's called by a variety of names, such as she's Tara, she is Ugra Tara, but she is quite an interesting goddess, I think, because she appears both in Buddhism as well as Hinduism. For the most part, I think that she's quite important in Tibetan Buddhism, especially Tibetan Buddhist Tantrism. She is a very important figure in that pantheon, spirituality, religion, what have you. And whereas her role in Hinduism is quite a bit more limited. You don't really have a huge following. You don't really have a huge cult that's pan India for the goddess Tara. Her worship is generally relegated to Eastern India and the extreme northeast of the country, and maybe even Nepal. But yeah, so it's a lot more localized. Um, as always, I will edit in a picture somewhere in the frame so that you guys have a frame of reference while I'm talking about the goddess. So here goes, right? Okay. Historically, I think as far as we can tell, the goddess Tara probably was worshipped first as an exclusively Buddhist deity or an exclusively Buddhist figure before she entered into mainstream Hinduism. So that's probably uh, the goddess Tara probably took the Indo-Tibetan route to get into modern day Hinduism. And it's kind of interesting to sort of study the differences between the Tibetan Tara and the Hindu Tara. And I don't mean to say that they're different entities as such, but you will find differences in the way she's described and in some of her aspects and attributes, depending on whether you're going for a Hindu source or a Tibetan source. So, by and large, and I'm using the disclaimer right here because you will find exceptions. By and large, the Tibetan vision of Tara as a goddess and as an entity is one of compassion, is one of kindness. She is someone who is characterized by her willingness to indulge her devotees. She's characterized by her kindness. She will never, leave a devotee hanging. She will never let them fall into trouble. She protects them from all sorts of problems, and makes all sorts of issues go away. That sort of thing. She is quite a kind, nurturing kind of a deity in Buddhism, by and large. If you move to the Hindu sources, you're going to find that Tara is usually invoked as a goddess that's pretty close to Kali. She's going to be you generally tend to invoke her more ferocious, fierce aspects as a goddess. She is, again, just like Kali. She is going to be linked with destruction. She's going to be linked with the cremation grounds, especially the fire of the cremation pyre. That she is linked to that. And in Hindu traditions, she's generally called Ugra Tara. Ugra is That's kind of interesting because the word Ugra, to my ear, sounds kind of related to the word Ugar, and that should tell you. Ugra in Sanskrit means ferocious, fierce, uncivilized, that sort of a thing. She is someone who's violent and impetuous and enraged in the Hindu traditions. Um, Specifically, that I one of the references that I remember to one of the references I remember which relate to Tara and her, well, I was going to say use, but it sort of kind of felt wrong to use that for a goddess, so it's better to say that one of her more popular rites where she's invoked. That's one of the more traditional rites that's linked to her. In Hindu texts, you generally invoke her when you're trying to exorcise a an evil spirit that's just too stubborn, or you're trying to subjugate an enemy. So that's when you invoke her in the traditional texts. You invoke Ugratara to subjugate your enemies or to drive out a spirit that has taken, that sort of dug its claws into you. So there's that. Um, so far as her iconography, I'm sorry, it's late. So far as her iconography goes, Tara is uh, usually depicted as being very similar to Kali. She has the garland of skulls. She has the skirt of chopped off human arms. So she iconographically she's quite similar to Kali. She is sometimes shown as standing on top of a corpse, but unlike in Kali's case, wherein Kali is always standing on top of Shiv, but in Tara's case, sometimes it's a random John Doe. Sometimes it's just an anonymous corpse that she's standing on, and sometimes she's standing on Shiv. So that sort of differs depending on where you're getting that depiction from, depending on where it's depicted. Um, if you So far as modern worship of Tara goes, I believe that she's still quite important in Tibetan Buddhism. She's also quite important in the Buddhist Tantric traditions as a goddess. Over there, although she's generally depicted as being green complexion, so you have the green Tara, and her seed mantra. That's it. That is the mantra that you sort of invoke her with, which is her essence. Basically, is Om Tare Tut Tare Swaha. So that is supposed to be a mantra which is very accessible to devotees. You don't need to be initiated into any spiritual traditions to be able to get the benefit, to be able to invoke the power of that mantra. That's what popular tradition says, because Tara as a goddess, especially like I said in Buddhist sources, is a goddess who is very nurturing, who is very kind, and generally does not require too much from her devotees, does not require too much for her blessings, so to speak. I'm sorry, that's my email going off. Anyway, in popular Hindu traditions, modern day Hindu traditions, we have. That's an interesting email. Sorry. We have Tarapeeth, which is a part of Bengal. You have it in modern day Bengal. That is a center for modern day Tara worship. It is also a center for modern day Hindu Tantrism. It's a pretty spiritually powerful place. Tarapeeth basically means the center of Tara. It's a temple that's dedicated to her, and it is a very, very interesting place. I've never been there, but it is on my bucket list. I plan to go there sometime this year, maybe, because I live in Calcutta. I live barely two hours away from the place, but I've never quite gotten around to going. I need to get on that ASAP. Um, so yeah, Tarapeeth is a modern day center of the goddesses worship here in India. It's quite active, and you have a very long tradition of tantric adepts who take up residence there. The most famous, if you guys are interested, you can look him up, is the adept from the 19th century, Bama Kappa, who was a very, very powerful tantric adept back in his day. They say that, by the end of it, he had legions of spirits under his control. Some even call him a reincarnation of, not a reincarnation, an incarnation or an avatar of Shiv. So that's like the really quick Cliff Notes version of Tara as a goddess. I hope this spurs you on to do more research about her if you're drawn to her as a deity. And I hope you guys have found this useful and entertaining. Do like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for listening to me. Good night, you guys.